Hey, everybody.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone. Welcome to Friday Focus Forum. I'm geeked. I'm going to tell you why. I have on the line, even though we're not seeing her face, Miss Tangela Moore, and Tangela was one of the first persons that I did my podcast interview with. And what really makes me even more geeked is that someone heard the podcast. One of my clients listened to it and
Yes.
signed up for her service. And that's cool. I mean, that's awesome, right? We all get these benefits. But what was awesome was that my client called me and said, the girl that you recommended, I signed up with her service and my credit score increased by 100 points in 30 days. I'm like,
Wow.
what?
Ooh,
So,
Yes,
so,
yes.
so that's, will we call that the real deal? Will we call that the real
what?
deal? Right? I mean, so let's get it cracking. I mean, welcome everyone. We got a couple of new people with us today, and I'm amped for that. So what I love to do is what we do when we get new people. We kind of go around the room, say who we are and what we do. And because, like I said, sometimes people watch these things, and Tangela's proof. We don't know what can come of
Yes,
these.
they
So
do.
let's do that. Let's go around the room and say who we are and what we do. And I always go top left because I play cards, so clockwise. Jonathan, you're first, please. And
Oh
don't get in an
boy.
accident while you're driving.
Oh, never that. Eyes on the road. Um, yeah, so I'm Jonathan Adams. I am a general contractor here in Philadelphia. I have a lot of different interests. I love to cook. I love to run. I like to fish. But mostly I like to break stuff and build stuff. So that's what I'm currently doing now, and that's what I plan to do moving forward. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. What's the name of your company? Can you give us a little bit more deets? Name of the company?
Name of the company is Mars LLC. It's actually undergoing some rebranding, not renaming, just rebranding, because we've made some really nice contacts with some various companies that are interested in using us to do their work. So, all in the effort to scale up, we're trying to get a little bit more with the branding stuff. But Mars LLC is the name of the company, and based out of Philadelphia. Started off with air conditioning and heating, and now we do entire houses. So we're keeping it moving.
Awesome. Awesome. Nice to hear. All right. I'm going around the room. I got Alisha Overton, and you've been with us before, but tell us, because we haven't seen you in a little bit, how you doing and what you're doing.
Hi. I feel like it's been a minute. It's been crazy. My name is Alisha Overton. I am the owner of the Administrative Concierge. It is currently a virtual assistant business. I had to come to the realization of saying that because I'm so used to coming to people instead of doing it virtually. But yeah, so I don't know, Mark. I don't really know what else to share. What should I be sharing?
Well, let me ask you this question since I got
Yes,
you.
yes.
Contact information. How can we reach you?
Oh. So I made a very big leap. I just bought a new domain
Okay.
for my business, and at some point over the weekend I'm going to switch it up. But for now, I'll make it easy. So the way to reach me the best way is by phone. So my number is 917-582-9727. The domain that I purchased was the one that we discussed, the TaskSavvy.com. I'm super excited. I just started the process of transferring it over in my Squarespace site. And so the next step is to transfer over my email. I'm looking forward to it, cutting down from 70 million words and letters.
Wasn't your last domain something like the Administrative Concierge coming straight to you from Ashton, North Carolina, LLC.com? Yeah, good.
What was so funny is that when you have my client that I currently have now, he said something to me that was profound enough that it stuck with me. He said someone told him years ago, he said, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? I said, okay. And what I realized was in starting my business, as much as I had an affinity to who I am because my brand is who I am, like, yeah, who wants to type the administrative concierge 50 million times? I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore either. So in that moment of having that, when he said that, I was like, oh, so I could stop being right. And let's talk about
Try to make a little cheddar.
Let's try to make some money so we can simplify this a little bit. So hopefully by the next time I come to visit the Marc Adams podcast, I will have made my switch over. So
okay,
I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Yeah.
That might be a Friday focused gem. Do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? I love it.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So let's move to Brother George. I'm looking at your artwork behind you. You love art.
Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful. So tell us who you are, what you do. We'd love to know.
Okay, my name is George Hobson, and one of the businesses I have, my primary location is selling real estate. However, myself and a couple other brothers are putting together an LLC that will be specializing in a cleaning business. So that's all I would say about that until we absolutely are formed. We're specializing in a cleaning business, and it's going to be in North Jersey.
Nice.
The business cleaning is going to be out of North Jersey. So, and the LLC, we're pulling, I won't say pulling the trigger, but the LLC should be completely formed by the beginning of next week.
Oh, so you're right on the cusp.
The name of it is Pro-Tex Deep Cleaning.
Okay, good. I think this is probably one of the best times to start a cleaning business too, right? Everyone is trying to figure out how to avoid the COVID rebound.
Yes.
So timing is everything. That's a brilliant time to start. Welcome. We're glad to have you. When you
Thank you. Thank Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, when you get your contact information for all that good stuff, come back on and tell us because people do watch. And
Yes.
you know, they might say, "Oh, I need that." And you're in North Jersey, right?
I'm in Teaneck. My office is in Teaneck.
Okay, so we're neighbors. We're neighbors. Welcome,
Okay.
neighbor. All right now. All right. So now let's go across the screen to Miss Tangela Moore. This is a lady about her business. So I'm excited to have you. Thank you for joining us. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Hello. So I am the owner of Bright Future Solutions, credit restoration, with our main focus geared towards assisting consumers and helping them become homeowners. So that means working with them to restore their credit, teaching them about finances, budgeting, and also just honestly teaching them some of the things that I do to restore their credit. So that way, 6 months from now, a year from now down the line, if something were to arise and come up on their credit report, they would know how to address it. They would know how to handle it. So just making sure that the consumer is informed. That's pretty much our primary goal. So that's what I've been working and doing.
Awesome. And we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Tangela was on our podcast and she was a really good interview. We had a blast. I'm really glad that we had that opportunity.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to hear some gems today as well. Last but certainly not least, Miss Michelle Brown. Glad to have you back. Thank you for joining again. Tell us who you are and what you do.
So Michelle Brown, I'm principal and CEO of Into Action Coaching. We are a New Jersey-based sort of talent management agency. And what does that mean? It means we partner with small to medium-sized businesses to help them hire the right people and create leaders that, this is not my tagline, but to create inspirational leaders. Really, it's leadership development, it's training, workshops, consulting. We're people solution oriented. So that's
Nice.
who we are, what we do.
Very nice. I'm gonna try and drop my new line, right? Because I've been working on my rebrand. So my name is Marc Adams, and I'm the owner of Next Level Business Advisors. I like it. Sounds good. And we help business owners clarify their goal and work with them to achieve those goals. That's my new tagline and my new DBA, for want of a better word. So before we start our little vibe session about the quote of the week. Do you mind if I just give a couple testimonials? Is that all right?
Sure.
Is that fine? I already talked about Tangela, but just one more time. She's on a podcast. Client of mine listened to the podcast, heard the podcast, called her up. I don't even know how she got you. Whoa, because we say where we could find you in the podcast. So she found you and was so effective that she called me. The client called me. She told me a month before. She said, Marc, I listened to your last podcast with Tangela. She said, it was a really good podcast, and I'm going to call her. I was like, really? You know how that goes, right? You're like, okay, yeah, fine,
Right.
right? So then a month later, she calls me, and she says, hey, Marc, remember I told you I was going to call Tangela? I'm like, yeah. So I'm thinking, she's like, oh, what's the number with? She's like, so I signed up with her when I called her, and she just called me today. Or I don't know if you called her or you sent her something, and I have my credit score improved by 100 points in 30 days. I'm like, whoa. She said, but not only that, but she's showing me the things that I need to do to improve. So I just want to give like that testimonial to Tangela because, the whole idea with these podcasts and everything is to not just enlighten other business owners as to what can be done, but also to show the world where they can get help. And so that was just like, to me, it was fantastic. That was so much fun to hear that and to hear, I'm glad she didn't say, I signed up with Tangela and that girl messed me up and oh boy, right? But I'm so glad.
Right.
I'm so glad.
Yes, and again,
when we about our business, it's a beautiful thing, And I just want to give one other testimony.
Yes, and I appreciate you for that.
Oh man,
I appreciate you for that as well.
And we had a blast.
Had I not had that opportunity, she wouldn't have seen me.
Yeah. And she's a networker. She might get you more. And I'm going to talk about Michelle.
Yeah, she told me.
Yeah, Joe. Michelle, Michelle, I'm not your client, but the first time we had a powwow, we were talking about what I do with advisory. So full disclosure, I've been in business for almost 20 years. Primarily it was taxes, bookkeeping, and accounting. We work with business owners. I have been. The advisory piece was never as formal as it is now. So I'm talking to Michelle about it, and she's giving me brand new ideas as far as how I can actually work with a different type of business owner. And I think that she came to interview me to do her work, so she's my client. But I think she inspired me more than than I could have imagined in our meeting. And I say that to say, I feel like because I've been in business for so long, I kind of got a lot of things down pat. And I've had a few business coaches. I still have a coach. Coaches have coaches, right? That's just the way it works. But our initial call that we had, you and I, was so inspirational. When you walked out the door, I didn't say it to you. I was like, this lady's about her business. I can see how she can inspire people so easily. It's just brilliant. I just wanted to share that since I'm just doling these things out, So, I would talk about Jonathan, but that's completely biased. His last name is still Adams.
And I'm not inspirational at all.
Yeah, well, no, you know how I feel about what you can do, especially in the construction field. He's a beast, but that's he's a beast, which is why he's doing his thing with this construction right now. And the general contractor is the smart way to move as opposed to swinging that hammer. Now you can tell people what they need to swing and how soon it should get done, which is interesting. Maybe we'll talk about your vendor issue that you had last week, because I was speaking to Courtney and I found out some interesting things about that. But anyway, we're not going to get into that right now. This idea with this meeting is that we vibe on a certain subject, but if there are questions that arise or thoughts, we share it with one another, we vibe, and we can also answer things together. I'm thinking about including something. I'm digressing. I'm talking too much. Let's just get into it. I need to hear you guys. The theme of the week that I had was an interesting one. It's a quote that I've been using for years. It said, the quote is, accounting is the language of business. Have you ever heard that before? Accounting is the language of business.
Yes.
You've heard that?
I haven't.
Yes.
Yes. Accounting. Well, John, you probably heard it because I probably drum it in your head, right? Accounting is the language. What do you think that
Exactly.
means? What do you think it means? What do you think it means? Let's get some thoughts. How do you apply that?
I guess you could in a couple of different ways. Just accountability. in your business and for different things that you know, are responsible for and need to do. It could also, you know, refer to actually the financial aspect of it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah,
I think oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. You go.
you go right ahead. Okay, Malcolm. I think Malcolm Forbes is the one that said that it's a good way to keep score.
Say that one more
How your
time.
business is. Malcolm Forbes says accounting is a good way to keep score.
Okay.
To know how your business is doing.
Okay.
That's kind of what my thought process was. Accounting is something that I think I'm diametrically opposed to just by my nature. I can be very detailed in measurements, quantities, volumetric data, but you put me in front of a spreadsheet and I just start getting blurry-eyed. I just don't really get it. But as I've gotten a little more mature as a business owner, I've learned that the accounting is your business's way of speaking to you. It's telling you if it needs some food, if it needs some water, if it needs some attention, or you know, it's the way that your business is speaking to you. So I think accounting is a language, and the more in tune you are with that language, the more in tune you are with your business's health and the direction that it's going, and whatever adjustments you need to make.
That's right. I like it. You hit it. You hit it nice and hard on that nail on the head. Anybody else want to jump in?
What's the phrase again, Mark? I want to capture it. Accounting is the what?
Is the language of business.
Okay.
It's the language of business.
Okay.
Anybody want to jump in? It's
One of
interesting.
the things
I'll reflect. A friend of mine who's a CFO said her phrase is, she didn't author it, but she uses the phrase "cash is king," right? So, and this is why I come to these calls, because maybe somewhat like Jonathan, I am hardwired conceptually around business acumen and business principles, but similar to Jonathan, when I look at my P&L and a spreadsheet, my eyes glaze over and I have an allergic reaction. But yet I know in order to be an optimal CEO and to really sustain and grow my business, I have to look at my numbers. So yeah, I could see that it's at the very core of the success of any business, because we're all capitalists, right? And we do what we do because perhaps we have passion and it's our purpose and vocation, but at the end of the day, we want it to generate the revenue we need. So yeah, I could definitely, that's how I'm interpreting accounting as the language of business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
one of the things I've had several businesses over the years, and one of the things I found that I don't have to like everything that I do, but I can always tap someone to help me to do it for me, pay someone to do it, like attorney, accountant, with an ancillary business that will help my business grow. Well, I don't like them. I find that paying whatever fee it is helps me to get it done without having to focus on it. And that's a big relief.
Absolutely. I mean, and notice the quote is not bookkeeping is the language of business, because it sure ain't. Right? It ain't. Taxes is the language of business, because it's not. It's accounting. Accounting is a little different, right? Accounting is analysis of the numbers. One
of the things that got me here too is I see that you're an enrolled agent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think that should be spoken on.
Well, thank you, brother. Yeah, I'm an enrolled agent. I've been an enrolled agent for 2010, so 10 years. I've been an enrolled agent. So those who don't know what an enrolled agent is, that's someone who's licensed by the Division of Treasury, the IRS. The Division of Treasury runs the IRS. So we're licensed to represent people. So if someone is under audit, I can be called and I can represent before the IRS. If you are in collections, that those commercials are 1-800 optimal, whatever. Yeah, all they do is hire people like me. They don't do nothing. They just hire people like me. I was actually for a couple of years, well, not a couple, but about a year, working with a company in the Midwest doing their tax resolution work. So they were getting all the clients and I was resolving all the tax matters. So I worked with people all over the country at that time, resolving tax issues, getting liens lifted, levies, lifted, which is a big deal. People, one day you open up your bank account and it's empty. Woohoo! That's never fun. That's never fun. So yeah, we did a lot of that kind of stuff. I enjoy that. I love talking to the IRS. It's a blast.
Can I speak to the person that's me?
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
I'm a babypreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of accounting is the language of business that's a new term.
Okay.
Having a background in banking, I get it, but I would have to say for a person that's just starting out, the level of detail or the minutia of accounting that a person is going to do is going to be big like that. It's going to be like that because ultimately, in my mind, what I was thinking about is when I first started, the only thing that came across for me was making sure that my overhead was almost zero.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to make sure that it was almost zero so that I wasn't overextending myself and I wasn't making purchases that were unnecessary in the very beginning of starting my business.
Beautiful.
So trying to figure out what the core purchases, the core things that I needed to manage. I think for me, I appreciate having all of you that have been in business way longer than I have. But for a little girl like me who's just getting started, I appreciate that because that tells me what life will be like down the road as I'm building my business and it's getting larger. But I would say for a person that's just starting out, the complexity of what accounting will be for you if you don't dive into that right away. But at least know the basics of what you need to function to get started.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's very interesting is that software that I didn't think I needed when I first started, I now have.
Mm-hmm.
The laptop that I started out with, I'm ready for a new one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this journey that you find in your expenses and then how you manage your overhead and costs for operating your business. You learn that I'm learning that along the way. So I appreciate this idea. I have been around lots of executives that they lived in numbers. That's all they were just a walking number anyway. It's interesting to kind of have a different perspective from, working in a very corporate environment into now watching entrepreneurs and business owners talk about their accounting language. I don't know that I have accounting language just yet. I think I'm in between bookkeeping and accounting. I'm still in between the two, but I appreciate the perspective.
And it's interesting because most of us start out that way. And look, I do accounting for a living, but when I started out, I didn't realize, and I knew that statement because that's one of the first statements I learned, but I didn't realize the importance or the value of it until I was in business for a few years. And I had done the accounting because I was learning how to do bookkeeping better just by doing my own books. Mm-hmm. And after, let's just say 3 years of being in business, I opened up my QuickBooks because that's what I use. Yeah. And I started trying to figure out why I'm not making any more money. Like, what am I doing wrong? So I started reviewing certain reports and I started understanding trends, right? When do you make the most sales in your business? What months are hotter than others? And this happens, it depends if you're in a seasonal business, right? So then if I could figure that out, when should I pour money into advertising? What's my most profitable month of the year, right? So how do I allocate my time so that I can maximize client and acquisition during that profitable time? When can I cut expenses? What's the best time to cut expenses? When do I pull back? When do I raise my prices? All of those things matter. So accounting is like, the bookkeeping is like this record keeping. That's what it is, right? We're keeping the books. And then it creates this history book for you of your company. I can tell you what your company is doing through the years. And if you tell me your problem, we probably can find the answer in your books, right? I have worked with clients, and in fact, not Jonathan, but there's a contractor, and he always cries every year about not having cash. It's a cash flow problem. One of his biggest problems, he never figures out his cost of goods sold. You know what cost of goods sold are? Especially with contractors. John, do you know what your cost of goods sold are?
Yep. After much exhaustive research, I've learned what the terminology means.
Okay. So
What, you want me to give you my definition?
yeah, I mean, just break it down in layman's terms. If you were doing an air conditioning job, you're going to install a new air conditioner. What would the cost of goods sold be?
It would cover the cost of the equipment. It would also cover the cost of labor. It includes materials and service. That's kind of how, as simple as I can put it. It does not include when I buy my coworker lunch. It does not include, ancillary things that aren't connected to the service or material that I am providing.
Exactly. Perfect. And so why does that matter? Because when you bid a job, you're basing it firstly on cost of goods sold. And if you come up with a percentage of the cost of goods sold, you say, I'm going to mark up my materials that I purchase, my air conditioners, by, I don't know what the percentage is, 8%. Now I have something to track. So you know what my problem with my client was, who was struggling? Because one year he made $250,000, the next year it was like $350,000, but he didn't have more money in his pocket. As he increased in sales, he increased his cost of goods sold. He didn't find that percentage. So all he was doing was giving people discounts to get the work. I got to stay busy. I got to stay busy. But every dime he made was going right to the cost of goods sold. He was struggling. So accounting tells me, and when he comes at the end of the year, because he didn't come with ongoing assistance, I'm like, your cost of goods sold, the first year was 14%, the next year is 21%. That 7% difference is money in your pocket. Either you need to increase your prices by 7% because your cost of goods sold is wrong, or you need to stop giving discounts, or you need to find cheaper materials. Something is wrong. Oh, I get it. How else do you figure that out? We often in business will go by gut, but we need to have those hard numbers. It's like that reality check. So accounting is a language of business, and the longer you are in business, the more thick your book gets. So I'll tell you this, and this is not a hard and fast rule, but a lot of people come, especially new business owners, and they say, hey, I don't need QuickBooks. I don't need all that stuff. Right? And you're right. You know what? You do need it. You might not need it month 1, month 2, month 3, but if you don't put that data in and you have it in a spreadsheet, which you can absolutely do, but if you ever want to analyze your business and figure out how you want to grow and make it more prolific, you will lose your historical information because Excel ain't tracking anything. You're not going to be able to slice and dice your information like that. You're not going to be able to extract the cost of goods sold part and say, okay, well, what my cost of goods sold in 2010 and then 2011 and 2012.
Yeah.
So accounting is so, critical to that.
Let me just say this: if you don't have,
mm-hmm.
And let me say this: if you're like me, whoever's watching this, and you just prefer not to have the software, you better hire somebody who you trust to run that software for you. I've been in business now, interestingly enough, for 7 years.
Woo.
And first 4 years, I ran my business instinctually. I'm very glad I have good instincts, but it wasn't efficient. It was a lot of wasted energy, taking on clients that if I ran the numbers would have told me not to take this client, because the bid you're giving them does not match the percentages you need to stay successful. So, I'm not going to hold you. I don't have QuickBooks. I don't want QuickBooks. I know I'm going to pay somebody who can explain it to me and answer every question I have, because somebody needs to run QuickBooks for my business. So, I wish I had Alisha's focus and insight. I do not. So I'm like George, I think a little bit. I'm going to pay somebody the fee that they charge, and you best have the answers I need when I need them, because if not, I'm taking that fee elsewhere. But to your point,
what's up, brother?
Your business has to be connected to QuickBooks or some kind of accounting software somehow, some way.
Yeah, I got QuickBooks earlier at the beginning of this year. And it has been, I haven't dived into it because I was just still building momentum. But I knew that it was really important for me to establish my business account and establish that QuickBooks, so that when the person that does my accounting, who's probably yelling at me right now, he's probably yelling at me right now, but he has the information that he needs, because I am really meticulous about keeping receipts in places. I know
That's
how to
awesome.
keep track.
That's awesome.
Because it's who I am. I
awesome.
can't function in chaos. So it's my profession. So I've been doing it for other people. Of course, I need to do it for myself as well.
That's awesome.
But it's super important to be that organized if you're not going to use QuickBooks, because otherwise there's money that you could be missing out on at the end of the year. You might have had something that you forgot all about because you were busy trying to wing it on your own, and winging it is not going to work if you're a business owner. It's just, and I feel like there was a small time period where, while I don't think that I was admitting the fact that I was winging it. And it was when I started, and I started in June of 2018. And I was working a full-time job, and I had this business as a side job. And it was only until I left my job and I started pursuing my business full time that I realized, yeah, girl, don't be winging nothing. You know what's gonna happen to you if you can't wing anything. And so, having Jonathan, I'm gonna need you to. Did you find somebody to get? Is someone handling QuickBooks for you? Are they handling? Keep chewing.
I muted you, boy. Go ahead and mute yourself.
I know.
My bad.
Chewing.
My bad. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gonna learn about me.
Yeah,
y'all gonna learn about me. I tend to do several things at once, so I'm sorry. Forgive me for chewing in your ear. But yes, I do have a financial consultant, if you will. I have an accountant. And I will say this: it took a while for me to really see the necessity of it, because I'm the exact opposite of Alisha. I thrive in chaos. My strength is being dropped into the middle of madness and getting solutions handled and done. And I actually get a kick out of it when everything's kind of going to, down below in a handbasket. I'm actually at my best.
Yeah, no, I love that too, but not when it comes to money.
And here's the thing.
We don't do that with money.
And here's the thing.
You can do that with everything else in life. You can drop me in with no parachute, but not when it comes.
But here's the thing. And this is why I said I respect these kinds of groups, because different outlooks, it gives me something of value to take and apply, because I'm like that with money. I just like willing and dealing and freewheeling. And what's bad is it works for me up to a point. But if I'm trying to truly become a business and not serving my business, but having my business serve me, then we got to change the approach. You know what I'm saying? If I can make $1,000 and do 2 hours of work versus $1,000 and 100 hours of work, I'm gonna take the 2 hours of work. So, you grow and you adapt as a business owner. But I do appreciate that, and I'm grateful that I have a financial guide because it puts things in perspective for me.
Nice.
Why you hear the Spanish music in the back?
Okay, all right. No, but that's good. That's good. Everybody needs somebody. I mean, none of us can do it alone. That's just the bottom line. And so we've got to figure that part out. It's critical to being successful in business. You've got to figure out how to manage the critical and important factors in your business. If you don't, you'll struggle. You might stay in business, but you will struggle and struggle and struggle. I'm going to tell you one other story. I have a client, and I love this guy. He's an interesting dude. I consider him brilliant. His wife, common law wife, I guess, she's a doctor. And in New York, years ago at least, doctors couldn't solicit business. I don't know if you knew that, but they couldn't advertise. Maybe things have changed. So this guy created a business that advertises his wife's business. And so she got, she was making more than $500,000 a year easily because of what he was doing. And they had some really weird business structure where he was the marketing company and she was the doctor, and she didn't make a dime because it all went to him. But they lived together, so it was all kind of good. So he has all these brilliant ideas to be able to generate revenue. He knows how to make it rain. You know, we talked about rainmakers before, but he was making a critical mistake. A critical mistake. Every year, he poured at least 1/3 of his gross revenues into advertising. Every year. So he'd been in business for 10 years. And guess what his retained, you know what retained earnings are? The cumulative gains? It was minus $1 million. He lost $1 million in total. It was crazy, right? I never saw nothing like that. So the first thing I did when we sat down, I opened up his books and looking at it. I said, dude, why are you spending so much money in advertising? He's like, look, I'd rather not worry about cutting costs. If I can make money, I don't have to worry about cutting costs. I said, but you are making money, man. And then you're taking some of it and flushing it down the toilet. Of all of the money that you generate every year, is it always brand new clients or do you have recurring clients? Well, a lot of them are recurring. So then how much of this money that you're spending on advertising is generating new clients? Well, I don't know. So the first thing I did was cut his, I tried to encourage him because you know how hard that is, right? To make somebody make a change. Cut your advertising by 75%. And he did the first year. This year he made 100 grand in net gain, 2019, 100 grand in net gain. He made one other tweak. He bought a new machine, but he didn't do the advertising he would have threw behind it. But the new machine handled a new body part, but he made $100,000 in that gain. He cut his advertising by well over 100,000. Guess what the money was? It's right there. It's right there. Just understand your numbers. And so that's what accounting for the language of business is all about. It's like not just reading the numbers, okay, this, but how does this impact what I do, right? So I'm going to give us one thought to take with us today, if I can, if you don't mind. Everybody pull out your balance sheet, your P&L, look at it as best you can. If you don't know the answers, find your accountant, sit down and talk about it, and ask your accountant for some key performance indicators for your business. Come to them together, KPIs. And start to track your KPIs and you watch your business flourish. Everyone might have different KPIs. That's a conversation you need to have. And if, Alisha, you're just starting out, you might not have any yet, but you can come up with some, honestly, the type of service you offer, right, might be something. When I'm working with a business, I'm trying to figure out a couple of different things, not just, okay, you made $100,000 in sales, but how did that $100,000 come in? Did it come in through one line of work or through, why does my business evolve from doing taxes to bookkeeping to advisory? Because taxes generates this much money and I know it has this much of a ceiling. Bookkeeping generates this much money, has this much of a ceiling. Advisory generates this much money and has this much of a, it all varies. So when I look at my books, and that evolved over time, the first time, when I first started, my P&L, it had $1 figure on the top. It said gross income. And I just wanted it to go up and up and up. After a few years, I was like, no, I need to break that out. Tax services and bookkeeping services. And then I said, I need to break that up. I need to do tax services, bookkeeping services, and QuickBooks consultation because I did a lot of that kind of work. I need to know which one is generating revenue. After 5 years, I can tell you this much of my business is through bookkeeping, this much is through taxes, this much is through consultation, and it all stinks. Let me find something else. But you need to know the language, right?
It's funny that you say that because I'm taking a business development course, and it was interesting that the person that's teaching the course said to the group that you should only be making one or two. You should only max 2 offers to the clients. So this is an academy for service-based entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and we're in the lesson that I'm in is about creating my vision, creating my offer for my ideal client. And it was very interesting that she said, you should limit yourself. She's like, I only have 1 or 2 offers in regards to services and then the pricing for each of them. And it was interesting. It made me think about the price listing that I created earlier in the year. She completely obliterated it in one or two sentences. but it was genius, because what it's now going to do is that, just to speak to what you're talking about, so now I'm really going to be able to track my income, because I'm not offering 50 million zillion packages and it's different, you know, it's going to, once I really narrow it down, then I will be able to track my income so much easier, because of the fact that I'm not offering all of these different options. It's going to be one or two. And because I'm going to be focusing on my ideal client, then I'm not going to have to worry about attracting people that are not meant for me and I'm not meant for them. You know, so to speak to that, yes, that is something that I'm learning now for myself. So my goal is, I have a retainer client now, and now I'm excited because I'm going through this course that I want more retainer clients now. And I can find the space and time to accommodate additional retainer clients, because now I have a better idea of what my vision is. And so I'm appreciating this growth that this learning curve, this growth that I'm going through. So this conversation is really good, because I'm gonna need it at some point. I'm gonna have to be really responsible about looking deeper into accounting versus just tracking income and expenses. It's gonna be a very different conversation by the time the year is out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What, that's your name? Alisha?
Alisha.
It's just spelled uniquely. Got it. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
So it's interesting. I love what you said as a foundation, and I just want to possibly create an additional vision for you, because I know you're a bit of a newbie coming in, and that's where I was when I first started, and I'm now celebrating my 15th year, having just gone through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And what they support, and this is kind of where I was maybe, I don't know, 5 years or so ago, is when you want to grow and scale your business, you want to look at your business in terms of what you can offer that you yourself may not be delivering. Because you'll cap out at a certain level, right? Because there's only 5 days out of the week, and 12 hours or 10 hours, however many hours you want to work a day. So one of the ways that I've scaled into action coaching is we offer a variety of services, but my model is to bring in other subcontractors or subject matter experts to do the delivery of the work.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I am in doing the coursework that I was doing actually last night, was recognizing that even on my website right now, there are services that I'm not going to do. I'm taking the time to get over my attachment and feeling of, oh my goodness, I've been doing this for so long, I have to do this. No, I don't.
I'm so good at it.
Yeah, just because I'm good at it doesn't mean that I like it or love it, right? And so I think that exercise of kind of editing myself down, to your point, Michelle, kind of editing myself down so I know what it is that I really love, the things that just make me excited about what I do, editing myself down to narrow myself down to those things, those services that I want to do, that I get excited about. And then that's going to help me not overextend myself. And you're right, because I can see where if I decided at some point that I did want to, let's take a service and there's a level of expansion that I can do within that service, then I may have to talk about reaching out to other people to help me. So that's an excellent point. I appreciate that, because I am, with the client that I have right now, I am doing things I've never done in my life. I've heard about them. I've heard about them, but I'm actually facilitating them. And it has been wonderful, because I am such a sponge that I love to learn something new. And like Jonathan, I love diving in and figuring it out, taking chaos and like literally, give me chicken, I'll make chicken soup. So it's been really entertaining for me to watch myself as I get frustrated, or if I'm feeling a negative feeling, and then all of a sudden I turn it around because I figured it out. So lots of growth, but I appreciate that, Michelle. Thank you.
Isn't the entrepreneurial journey fun?
It is fantastic.
It's a lot of fun.
I should have done it sooner. I should have done it sooner.
It's fun.
So mad at myself.
And it's a fun transition. It's a funnier transition when you are working full-time or you have a job and you're transitioning out, because there's going to be a point, right, when you let go. When I was doing my full-time job and I was doing taxes on the side part-time, you know, I took it very, very differently than when I left the full-time job. You know why? Because you want to eat. And when that's the only money coming in, everything changes. I remember when I was working like part-time, I was a computer programmer. I'm making good money. Somebody said, I can't pay you today. Oh, don't worry about it. You know, you can pay me when you pay me, you know. But when I stopped, I was like, look, when I give you this piece of paper, I want the check, because I need the check, because I got to eat. So it's a fun and a funny transition, right? And so it's a good question. It's powerful though, and it's empowering.
Alisha, what exactly is your business? I'm not sure I understood that.
So I'm a virtual assistant. I actually prided myself in not being a virtual assistant, but COVID happened, and so ergo, that's what I am now. So I've been an executive assistant for about 20 years, and I have worked at I've worked in different industries. I've worked for every level of executive, from AVP all the way to CEO. And so I've had lots of exposure, primarily in the finance and healthcare industries. And so I decided that I wanted to work for myself at some point. It was a long journey, because I am not one that likes to just, at least when it comes to me personally, like work is a different thing, because I know how to function within work. But for me personally, starting my own business and being an entrepreneur was scary. And when I finally decided to do it, it put me in a place where I was taking control and power for myself. I had been giving it to other people, and quite honestly, Marc and I did a podcast, so you'll hear my story once my podcast comes out. But to make it clear, I was tired of narcissistic people. That's the nicest way to say it. There's some other things that I could say.
Hey, isn't that probably a lot of reasons why a lot of us are
people? I was tired of them. I'm like, if you're going to have any control over my work life, I need you to be as smart as I am, if not smarter. And if that's not the case, then we have a problem. I'm just going to be honest. That's what it was for me. And so when I felt like I was being taken advantage of, I was not appreciated, I took matters into my own hands. And then I had other personal goals that I wanted to reach as well. So it was a perfect marriage to decide to finally take the leap. So happy that I did. So happy that I did, because it's stretching me as a person. And I'm always looking to do that, stretch myself as a person, because you can get stagnant, you know, and that's just not who I am. It's not how I was raised. I had wonderful mentors in my life that have always pushed me.
So in short, she's an AA.
In short, I'm an AA. But you need, I can facilitate it for you.
So I had to cut that one a little bit. So we're coming up on our hour. So normally what we do in these meetings, or what we've done every week is we try to set goals for the next week. This is not just, I mean, it's great for us to talk, but I at least want us to think about something to do to move our business forward. So last week we had, it was really a bananas week, because we had a bunch of different people that we don't normally have on. This week it's the same thing. So you don't have a goal from last week, but that's cool. I keep notes, and one of my guests who's on regularly chided me because I keep them everywhere. So I got one book for notes, and guess what? I have everybody's to-do list from the last weeks. So I'd like to just go around the room and see how we did. Is that all right? Is that all right? And Alisha, yes, you were in the book. The last time you and I chatted, or we were on this, your goal, which should be well done now, is to create.
Should I put my stops video on? I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. And remember this as I say this, right? This is just the general rule. You make a goal. If you don't make it, okay, that's life. So, you know, if you don't make it, you don't make it. It's something to strive for. And we get better at it as we go. So no judgment if it didn't happen, but I kind of think you might have. Your July 17th is what I have here. You were just going to create a reasonable schedule for improved work-life balance. How'd it go?
And I did that. I I use a book called The Self Planner. It's by
Okay.
Best Self Company. And I literally sat down, wrote everything that I needed to do. And I got to say that I did much better.
Beautiful.
I did much better at accomplishing my schedule. I did much
Awesome.
better.
Awesome. So do you have a goal for the next week to grow your business?
Ooh, next week,
Mhm.
the task savvy has to happen. I don't care how we do it, who does it. The tasksavvy.com has to happen.
I love it.
That's
a good goal. Very
Yeah.
nice goal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Let me see. Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
I have here written down end of month, submit plan for minority business. And today is the end of the month.
Not only did I submit it, but I got approved.
Ooh,
Boom!
Congrats.
That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's big. That's big
Yeah.
news.
Yes.
So outside of getting the news, I then had my assistant. I just sent a note to you, Alisha. I want to talk to you because I need some additional support. So I had one of my VAs actually create a mailing to our New Jersey-based clients, letting them know because there's tax benefits. So I will be communicating and marketing that good news to others as an incent for them to continue to do business with us as well as prospects. So now
So is that your next week goal then, to start the marketing campaign?
I would like to post the next week's goal is I've been asked to do a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion work within corporations. And I have a training that's been sort of sitting on the shelf that's not the traditional DEI training, you know, unconscious bias, microaggressions, etc. And I won't get it complete in a week, but at least by next Friday when we get back together, I need to look at it and expound on it so that it's taken from a 2 full-day workshop to a 6-month leadership program.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Nice. So I'm writing down the following. Tell me if this is good enough. Diversity incorporation training, sitting on shelf, get it started to a 6-month program.
I'm sorry, DEI.
DEI.
Yeah.
DEI.
So tell me again, what is
Just that you're going to get that program started and expand it to a 6-month program.
No, I'm not going to get it started. I'm just going to look at the curriculum.
Okay.
And reformat it to fit within a 6-month period.
I'm going to put review curriculum and start reformat, right? Because you won't get it all done, right? But that's cool. I like that. I have a program that I'm working on too, and I can't get off the ground. So I know exactly what you mean. Awesome. Beautiful. I like that. And congrats again. That's big, big news. Before everyone leaves, we're going to keep going around the room, but I would like you, because the chat saves, and I think it actually shows up in the recording. So can you please do me a favor? Put your name, your company name, your email address, or whatever contact information in case someone wants to find you in the list. Is that cool? And that way we can share it. And I'll share it when we post it on Facebook. I mean, I post it on YouTube, believe it or not, on my channel. I will put all your contact information in those notes just in case people want to find you. Cool? So just put it in the chat because it'll save. Jonathan, the last time you were here, let's see, Jonathan.
Yo,
And so
how you doing?
Catching Stripe Bass. Oh, lockdown new client, signed contract. Oh, we got that. You were supposed to get some inspections completed for your GC project.
Yes. So the inspections got pushed back because of the slowness of a particular subcontractor who will remain nameless.
Yes.
With some properly applied pressure, because I've come to appreciate that it's okay to hold people to the same expectations I hold myself to. And so with some properly applied pressure, the work is completed. And I actually called the inspector and got a really nice rapport with him. And he said, you know what? I'd rather you push it off so that you get past the first time. I said, thank you, sir. please let Courtney know. And I gave him Courtney's number. So we have inspections on Monday that I'm looking to get done. I also have 3 new subs, one of whom I used yesterday, who passed with flying colors, a new clean out company. I have a new plumber, a new electrician, and a new framer that I'm introducing to a new project. So I guess it's the ongoing theme of just continuing to scale. I want to try these new subs out. I want to get these inspections done by Monday and lock these subs into some contractual agreements. So that's the plan.
Oh, that's big. Nice, very nice. So for those who are new to our little program, Jonathan is a GC and he's building his teams so that he can run multiple projects at once.
I'm not as skilled as Alisha or Michelle. I envy folks like that who are very organized mentally. So I'm building a house while building my team simultaneously. Don't ask me why, but it's fun.
Because sometimes that's how we rock, baby. That's how we rock.
Hey, listen, that's how it
I'm
gotta
gonna finish
go.
the house first, and I'm gonna look at it, and then I'm gonna build my. No. We do stuff simultaneously. That's how you grow.
If I'm a transition, I'm trying to transition.
There you go.
So I'll put down all my HVAC installations. I'm not doing those anymore.
Good.
And I'm all in on house building.
That's how you do. Perfect. Nice. Tangela, would you, not mandatory, but if you like, do you have a goal for next week that you want to share?
I do. I think my biggest goal right now kind of hits on what you were just speaking on, as far as that transitioning from your 9 to 5 and being just full-fledged 100% with your business.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave myself an ultimate goal by the end of August to be completely done and solely working with my business. So, and some of the things we spoke about today, I really need to get some of that going so that when I do kind of jump off the bridge, I got some type of parachute with me.
All right.
So, so I guess my goal for next week would be to get with someone as far as getting like QuickBooks set up and speaking with someone. So I kind of ahead of the game a little bit because we're not new, but we're new.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't want to prolong it.
I'm going to tell you, I had a client several years ago who did what you're doing, credit restoration. And they called me in to do a QuickBooks project for them because they wanted to set up automatic billing. And, so I did, it was just 2 guys in a room, literally, office smaller than mine, 2 guys. But they had all the right concepts. So we set them up. And like maybe a year later, they called me and they said, hey, we need you to help us with payroll. So I went back to the place. They had a staff of like 10 people. I swear it was. Yeah. And obviously that means nothing to me because, hey, appearances are one thing. But of course, I sit in front of their QuickBooks and I looked at their revenue. This kind of work that you do it can grow so fast and exponentially. Make sure get your accounting right now because you will find yourself, you can be running an empire so quick, but if your numbers aren't making sense, you're going to, scalability can also drag you down. So you're at a nice point where your beginning stages are there. Set it up right now so that you can scale without that, that bottleneck. So that's a nice goal. Go, get that QB set up, girl, get it set up.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Of course.
My man Mark is the preacher of numbers. I am not, Tangela. But I'm telling you, you and Alisha are doing it so right. like seriously, it's gonna cut years off your stress because y'all are setting it up like y'all doing it so right. Don't be like me. Don't be instinctual. Be logical, and y'all are gonna kill it. Like I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, it just makes the journey a lot more fun.
Yes,
we'll start to be heavy on you, and even trying to do catch-up work. Don't be a year in and say, "Oh, I want to get my books done." You know how many clients come to me a year in, 2 years in, and say, "Oh, I want to get my books done." It's a mess. It's a mess. And,
I don't want to be like that.
Don't.
And I'm like Alisha too. I save all my receipts. I have a bin. When I make my post office runs, when I'm ordering supplies, I got certain accounts set up now because I'm also working on my business credit. So I'm already doing all of that, but it's like just to ensure that I'm doing the right things at the right moment.
Yes.
Before I actually leave my job, I just kind of want to make sure everything is set up.
Beautiful.
So,
Yeah, well,
How many of you?
yeah, go ahead.
How many of you guys got a scanner? How many guys?
Jonathan, you have your information on there? I'd like to get in touch with you after.
I don't know how to put notes
Hold on.
through my phone interface.
Hold on. Because I know I'm in front of a keyboard. So, and we're running
Can you
past
put
the hour. So I'm
Can
sorry,
you put
guys.
my stuff out there?
Yeah, Jonathan Adams. What's your number?
267-234-1019.
All right. And I'm going to put Mars.
237-234-1019.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Because I got to step out. I'm based out of Philadelphia.
So
unfortunately,
yeah.
Because all of you guys are up north or down south.
I know.
Yeah.
Before because we're running past the hour, I apologize. George, did you want to set a goal for next week?
Yes, I have a goal set. So my goal is for all my partners is to have to get them to do it. Is to complete the LLC, complete our operating agreement, open a bank account, and complete our business cards.
Woo!
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. Love it.
All right. I love it. And business cards. Beautiful.
I have to go, everyone. My concrete guy is calling me.
Okay.
But it was a pleasure hearing your thoughts, and thank everyone here for the inspiration. I look forward to continuing to learn from everyone. So I'll see y'all later.
And from you.
Bye.
Awesome.
Yes,
Awesome.
likewise.
Thank you all, guys. I really appreciate it. It was really fun. Nice group. Please come back. Actually, Tangela, I think you're on the invite list. George, I'd love to add you to the invite list. I'm delinquent with these things. So if you have your email address, let me know, and I will definitely grab you and put you on that invite list. We'd love to have you back dropping more jewels with us.
Michelle, I sent you an email.
And I returned it.
Okay, perfect.
Oh my goodness, YouTube. Awesome. All right. Guys, have a great week.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mark.
All too. Thank you again, Mark.
All right.
Very
You
good.
guys
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Michelle.
All right, George. Good seeing you.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
All right, you too.